This is Mario with MIA Microflight once again, and this is the miniature racetrack that I've been working on for these turbo racers. This is the 8x4 layout here, 8 feet by 4 feet. I've shown this in previous videos, and this uses a particular type of track, which is made up of various components. This are the sort of chain-like curves, components that I've been using to create some of these curves and match those with some of these straights, or connect them with the straights to create the track here. And you can pretty much do any kind of curve with these singular or standalone short pieces here that you see in orange here. So after working on this track here, and considering that this is going to take a little bit of time here before I'm able to make the space for an 8x4 here in my shop or in my garage, I decided to do another track that would fit a table, a kitchen table that I have, which is 53 by 53, is a perfectly square table. And so I decided to do this other track, to fit that those dimensions there, and a track that I can simply attach really easy in pieces. Use some basic shapes, the curves, standard 45-degree curves, maybe some even 22.5, which is half of 45, and just assemble it quickly. And so when done, I could disassemble it and put it away, so that I can use my table again as a regular kitchen table. And in the process of doing this particular track here, as you can see, this track, I was considering 3D printing the track itself, the road, as well as this fence sections here. And I sort of mimic the real fences that are used in highways in a 3D printed form here, but these pieces were very, very difficult to print as one piece. And so I started playing with various options here. As you can see here, these are the one pieces, and I was printing these as you see them here, flat like that, with supports on the bottom here, but the supports were not creating a nice clean edge here. And so I decided to move away from this and see what my other options were. So this is the road here that you can see here, and you can see those pieces, those individual what would be the rails, the guard rails, is a single piece, with the post and the fence as one single unit here. And my thought was to attach those to this base plate as a 3D printed part. As you can see, this is also a part that also uses these separate inserts. This was printed in gray, the base, and these inserts were printed in white to create this track here, with these pieces being separate and designed so that they can attach to the base here either with pins or screws. So from this point, I was having a little bit of a hard time getting these pieces to my liking, just clean as one piece, as the rail and the posts with these bases here, with these perforated bases. And so I started playing around with ways to simplify that and make it a little more clean in the 3D print form. So I decided to completely move away from the base as a 3D printed part, because this was also taking a long time to print, even though these are very, very flat pieces. They're no more than I think these are 40 thousandths in thickness. And so I decided, this is it's consuming a lot of material, and maybe there's a better way. Now, for those of you who have seen my radio control microlights, ultralights, and particularly the auto gyros, which I've been making for the past 20 some years, I have been using a material which is made out of polyethylene and it's it's basically it's called Corflute or corrugated plastic, and I've been using the thin stuff, which is really a little bit difficult to get these days, which is about 2 millimeters in thickness. And here I'm mimicking that corrugated material by this by this part here, this geometry. And so I decided to use that as my my road, and use the rails as my as a separate piece to be attached to this, as I have attached in similar way on some of the vertical and horizontal stabilizers that I use on my auto gyros and microlights and ultralights that I've done in previous years, as I mentioned. And so I decided to use the same technique, but make it into a piece that I can now use as a road, and have these rails as a separate sort of insert or tongue and groove type connection here. So that's what we're seeing here. And so I decided to do this, and I started printing some of these as one piece, as you see them here. I also printed some other ones. Let me bring those up. And there's my table, and there's that. Let me hide this one here. And so I started doing this right here, but these pieces were not coming out, like I said, to my liking. They had a lot of imperfections here because of the geometry, and it's a difficult part to print as one piece. And so I decided to well, let me show some of these pieces here in the real physical form, and to show what I'm talking about. Here's one piece that I was talking about, one of the earlier ones that I printed. Is one piece. You know, you have the post, you have these bases here, and then you have this guardrail. And this one came out not too bad. This is one of my original ones. Let's see if my camera can capture that. And we can see the imperfections that I'm talking about, because this part was printed flat like this, because of logical and obvious reasons. You want you want the part to be printed as clean as possible. So worst case scenario, I had these supports here underneath these things, and I had to remove those. And it's not a bad part, and this can be bent real easy to create the curves. So this is one option here that I started doing. But I did this with the intention of using 3D printed roads, so that these would fit on top of them. I can still use roads that are cut, pre-cut, from plastics or cardboard or wood even, and still use this fence right here. So this fence is still valid right here. So from this fence here, I started moving away to fences that were, fences like this one right here, where this is a two-piece fence. It's got these posts and it got these inserts right here. And again, this was to minimize some of those imperfections that you get when you print parts with supports. And so even this was a little bit also difficult to print, because I'm still having to print this flat like that, and you have these supports underneath these pieces here. So it became a little more complex than really resolving than providing a solution, to what I was trying to achieve. And so the solution came about by printing the straights as single pieces right here, as you see them, as you're going to see them here. So here's one of the pieces here, the corrugated plastic with the insert rails right here, and this right here, this piece right here is actually inserted into that piece. And the way I achieved this with a clean print is I printed this part right here flat vertically like that, which is also flat with this part right here. So if I were to take this out right here, you know, we can see how nice and clean that is, because this part is printed vertical. There are no supports whatsoever here. This part is clean. It's clean for this plastic corrugated flat sheet to be inserted there. And this part right here that you see, the rail itself, is printed also flat like that. So there are no supports whatsoever right here. And so when this is done, all one has to do is just come back here and align it with those pegs. And it's almost like a press fit here. You know, once I got the proper tolerances for these pegs to insert into those sockets that are part of this rail right here. So that's my part right there. And once that's assembled, you know, with a bit of CA glue for more permanent installation, you know, this can be simply inserted like that. And so that's my a rail, you know, using this material here as the track. And this track can be any width, so we're not limited to a 3D printed part that's only 6 inches wide as my original 3D printed parts were going to be as part of this track layout for this particular table, or it can be you know, for any size table, because these parts are standalone as straights and curves. Some basic curves, 45s and 22.5 degree type curves. And so this is my latest track for this for a really quick install and takedown, you know, assembly onto any table, and you can easily disconnect all these things and put it away, you know, when you're done with it, so it doesn't take too long, you know, to assemble something like this. The challenge came when I had to do the curves here. I ran into also another you know, another issue with the printing this part right here, and so this is one of the parts that I printed as a one piece. Try to print it in one piece with supports, and this part has been cleaned up. It took me a good 30 minutes to clean this part because of the supports and the complexity of this part. This curve right here is printed as one piece, you know, to match the track that I just showed here, you know, with this slotted section, bottom section here, so they would match, so they would connect, you know, to the same material or something of similar thickness. And so this became a challenge here, and I decided, you know, to find another way to do this. So when doing these things, you know, there is sometimes we have to compromise, and sometimes we don't get you know, the cake and eat it too. You know, it's you have to compromise because of the complexity in geometry, and you know, you have to find other ways. So I settled, basically my solution was to do these parts as you see them here, and not have these posts here as I wanted. You know, I wanted to be able to see right through and have this like a real rail, like a typical rail, a straight rail, follow this curve here. So it in order to avoid complexity and printing this open rail curves, you know, with supports and having to clean those up, I decided just to do it solid like this, so that it's easier to print and do it in two pieces here. And the two pieces are necessary. One's an inner curve, the other one's an outer curve to obtain, you know, this connection here. Let me just remove this previous one. And so that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing the complete curve here, done in two pieces with a top section and a bottom section here. And if we look at the side of this, you know, you can see how that fits here. So this piece right here is a separate piece, but it has this support here for that plastic insert that would make up the curve. Now I would have to cut, you know, a 45-degree 6-inch curve, you know, to match that geometry so that it fits tongue and groove, so to speak, in this section here. And this right here is a group of two parts here. So if we were to separate those, we can see how this is attached, you know, to that right here. So this creates the base for the support of this piece right here, and this top right here just connects on top, and that can be done with glue or with double-sided tape underneath the this piece here. So this is my solution, you know, to this curvature here that was very complex to print, and you know, it was just too complex to print and too complex to remove the supports, you know, to arrive at this to arrive at a somewhat clean part that I could use as my rail system. So that's the give and take, the compromise I've had to reach, you know, to obtain this curve here and provide, you know, these curves, you know, for a track layout such as what you're seeing here. And so this is the one with the 3D printed part, but as you can see, the track versus this one right here, you know, this is a much better option here because it's a clean track, and all you have to do is insert this corrugated piece of plastic here, or anything that's of that thickness. You can also make it wider. The length is 10 inches long. I locked up on that dimension, you know, just to have enough pieces that I can first of all that I can print on my Anycubic i3 Megas. I do have a larger machine that I've been using, 2 Trees Sapphire +5, that can print bigger, larger parts. But I wanted to keep this, you know, at that dimension also to make these pieces fit with ease in various size tables and boards or layouts here. So this is kind of similar to what I've been trying to achieve. You can see here some pieces done in clear here, this tracked in clear. I could print with this piece by itself. I mean, that would be one option, you know, to get this part in clear, or I can use just a clear material that can fit, you know, this system here in the same thickness here, you know, some kind of a plexiglass or a plastic that I can use, and I can have the same effect versus this 3D printed one that can take you know, quite a bit of time to print. It's a little more complex here with this particular track. So, but the layout here is what I've been trying to achieve, and I can maintain the same layout as you see here with this underpass and over with this bridge here, with this system here, and that's why I decided to make a copy of this board layout here, and I'm in the process of completing this now that I have my curves here. Now I still need to make a curve that will be only 22.5 degrees in curvature here, so that I can do these curves here, because this layout calls for this the use of 45 and 22.5 degrees here, just to keep it consistent with this layout. And I think that's where I'm going to end up. I'm not going to make it any more complex than this by creating other curves. I could make it this curve even shorter by going to you know, 11.25, something like that, you know, just to give it a little more flexibility in layout. But I think the simpler we keep this, the easier it is, you know, from a assembly and a printing standpoint. So this is what I've been working on. I've been also working on some other. I actually completed, I should say, the buildings for the 8x4 layout. One of my original layouts here. And I have so many parts here that my computer's having a little hard time. Not hard time, but it's taking a little longer to save the file. I have an automatic save here, and but this is the layout here with the buildings, and I've already shown some of these buildings already illuminated, you know, with the LEDs, and I just finished this building right here. I finished the installing the LEDs. These are 12-volt LEDs, so I just cut out from reels of 12-volt LED lights. And so this one is already done. It's got the wiring already installed. So that one was finished, but I've been also working on doing a sort of a tubular building here, and this is what this is. This is what this is about. This is the start of a building, another building that's going to be fully illuminated, similar to this. You know, glass-like windows to match these other ones, just to balance this section right here. You can see also that my lake here, which was encompassing this whole, which was taking up, you know, this whole area here, I decided to shorten that, and I've already printed that as a two-piece assembly here. You have the this was printed in blue, the lake area, and that gets inserted into this border here, which was also printed in gray, you know, to go along with the base of these buildings and some of these roofs, which are printed in the same color. So I finished that. This is something that I have to work on. Also, this area right here, which will be I'm hoping to make this a little more organic versus more mechanical, as you see it here, so that it simulates you know, low profile mountain or dirt area here, just to give it a bit of more organic feel, you know, to this track here, because pretty much everything else is very mechanical, very architectural, you know, squarish extrusions, and so I think a little more organic parts here would balance it out. Some of the more organic parts that I've been working on also are the trees and the foliage. These are basically just structures, just bases, you know, to embellish them with more organic materials that you can use, such as moss, you know, just synthetic moss that you can attach to these trees, just to give it a little more organic and realistic feel. But I've been also printing these things as flat pieces here, just very flat pieces, and just bending them with a little bit of heat to create some of the trees that I show in some other videos. But right now these pieces are just very, very basic right now. You know, these trees that I've been putting here along these next to these buildings right here, just to get an idea of where I want these where I want the plants and foliage, you know, to be located. So this is where I'm at, and once again, here's an underpass that I've been also working on, but I think I'm going to remain with this one that has the framing, because it's just the framing really adds up to more, it gives it more three-dimensionality, and it's in line with all these buildings here, because all these frames are done in white PLA. And so this one, it really stands out more than this one here. I don't have the real pieces in front of me, but as you can see here in this layout, you know, this is a lot more attractive than just a piece of plastic, you know, covering this. And I did this in a 3D printed piece, and when I printed this piece in clear blue PLA, I printed this vertically, and not with supports here, but I printed vertically like this. So it's a very thin piece, and I printed that with a brim, you know, so that the part would hold. They came out pretty nice. The part came out pretty nice, but it does not have the same effect as this piece right here, which was printed with this white frame, with this white framing here. So something of interest. What else have I been doing here? Other than that, I think it's you know, just coming along pretty nice. I do need to make the room, as I said earlier, for an 8x4 sheet of plywood, where I can build a box underneath it, sort of a 2-inch box where I can embed all the controls here. And this is what this is for right here. This is just a panel here that I need to complete with all. This will house all the potentiometers, switches, LED lights, indicators, you know, to turn on on and off all these LEDs here, and each building has its own set of lights. These lights, these lamps here that are part of the track, they will have their own circuits here, and this will probably be done in sections here to just to be able to distribute the voltages and current just equally and properly, and you know, where I can turn on all these lamps, or maybe all at the same time, or maybe partially some areas on and off. And so this is the panel that is there, just an angle triangular section here to mimic the panel. But eventually this will become a panel once I get all the perforations done for the potentiometer switches and indicator LED lights that are probably going to be here. They will be here, not probably. And so all the wiring will be underneath here. This will be a permanent installation here. All the buildings will be permanently installed here, as the track will be also permanently installed. That's not going to move. Once this is set, it'll be set on that panel, and to move this whole section right here, you will have to, you know, two people at least, you know, to move this around and just move it from a table, you know, maybe stand it up, you know, when it's out of the way. And even I'm considering doing a canopy here, just a clear canopy, just to protect all these items here that you see here. I do have some palm trees that I created using these flat pieces here. As you can see, this leaf right here, this leaf assembly is part of that palm tree, which I used. I'm using 2-3 of these kind of interlaced and bent individually on just a stem bamboo, 1/8 inch bamboo stick, to mimic some of these palm trees. And so this may take a flavor of a desert theme, and not so much you know, a East Coast theme where you probably find, you know, more pine trees and that sort of foliage, greenery. And so I don't know. We'll see how this comes out. You know, once I get all these pieces made and done. I already have a lot of palm trees, so I think it'll take more of a desert theme than anything. So this is where I'm at. Once again, this is Mario with MI Microflight, and I thought I'd capture this video just to show all these things that I've been working on. The tracks, you know, how I arrive at these things, and kind of the logic behind all these things, and how and why I do these things the way I do them. Stay tuned for more.